Hey everybody, Mark with Kardashev here, and I'm making this video because I was talking with somebody on Facebook recently, and they were like, "Oh man, when's new Kardashev? When's new Kardashev coming out?" And I realized, we've this year has been so crazy. We really haven't given a whole lot of updates as to what Kardashev is up to, and that's making some people think that Kardashev isn't doing anything. But actually, this has been one of the most I would say this has been one of the most busy Kardashev um, years that we've had. So I decided to make an update, and just a heads up to anybody, this is going to be kind of long-winded. I'm not going to TLDR this video because there's a lot of cool information, but more importantly, I just like communicating with y'all. I like sharing things. Most of the time it's through Facebook Messenger. People reach out to me all the time. I reach out to people. You can reach out to me if you just want to talk. And so I kind of want to just have a fun, well developed conversation about it. So first, let's talk about some of the things that have gone on that have kind of kept us really busy. So first and foremost, Kardashev, we have a side project going called Never Breath, which is just pretty straightforward black metal. It's not nearly as ambient or I would say soaring shoegazy as Kardashev's music is. Honestly, the way this developed is we went and we saw Belphegor live, and it was pretty cool. I actually got a pick at the Belphegor show. Their guitarist flicked it into the crowd, and it hit me straight in the eye, and I got it off the ground, and that was pretty cool. But Nico and I went and saw Belphegor, and we were just blown away by the theatrics and the quality of the performance, and we were like, damn, we want to do that too. So that's been something. It's actually going to be a full album, and my sister is going to be doing vocals with me on it. That's going to be pretty fun. I've been teaching her how to do some basic metal shrieks. So that's been taking a bunch of our time, and we've got some buddies on it. Kardashev's drummer, Sean, is also doing the drums for Never Breath. He's also in a band called First Rain, so dude's busy. And then a buddy of ours, Paul, he's going to be doing bass. So it's been something we've been putting together, and there are a couple of coordination things. Right now I'm just trying to write some lyrics. But you can actually listen to the full instrumental on Google Drive, and I'll link that in the description below. Here's a quick preview of what some of those things sound like. The concept of the album, just, again, pretty straightforward. Never Breath is something we're just doing to kind of have as much fun as possible. We're not taking it quite as seriously as Kardashev, although it is, it is something we're serious about. So the concept is going to be that my sister, who's the other vocalist, is like Lilith, the dark goddess Lilith, plague, disease, things like that. And I am going to play like a disciple, like a cultist of hers. And she basically, through the album, leads me through this ritual of self-sacrifice where I kill myself. And then that allows Lilith to step forward into the material world. Just kind of fun. Nothing crazy, but just fun to write. Now, the second thing is that, I'm the vocalist of Viremia now, and that was a big task because I'm just going to be honest. That vocal style is not something, it's not something I was used to. Josh reached out through Nico and was like, hey, could Mark do this? And honestly, when Nico first approached me with it, I was like, nah, that that style is not what I'm used to. But Nico, if I'm being honest, a lot of my growth as a vocalist has come from Nico pushing me. That's just the truth of the matter. Back when we were doing Excipio, he was like, scream lower. And I was like, I can't scream lower. And he's like, just fucking do it. And I did it. So kudos to Nico on that. But finally, I agreed to do it. And writing those lyrics was absolutely insane because I don't know anything about brain tumors and glioblastoma and things like that. But, I pushed through it and Josh encouraged me. And so I'm the vocalist of Iranian now, and that took a whole chunk of my time. And you can actually, glioblastoma, our single, has been released. You can hear it. It's super tech death, super slam. Doesn't sound a whole lot like Kardashev, but goodness, I had so much fun doing that. And I'm really looking forward to doing more songs as well. Here's a little clip. You can check it out on Slam Worldwide. They hosted it. Thank you so much to those dudes. But yeah, check it out. Here's just like a little 10-20 second clip. Finally, the last thing that's been taking up a lot of time is the fact that I'm trying to fully launch a vocal coaching business. One thing I've always been good at is teaching people and, relaying abstract ideas in a way that they can understand. And I've had a whole lot of fun, even though it's been quite a challenge, helping people sing and scream. And so I've been spending a lot of time getting that off the ground. We won't spend too much time on that, but I'll have some links below if that's something you're interested in. But let's get on to the good stuff. Let's talk Kardashev. Kardashev has a lot of really cool stuff going on. So we're going to split this into two parts because we're working on two projects. The first, we're working on a sequel to Iota. Actually, Iota is, full transparency here. Iota is a trilogy, right? When we first started Iota, I remember when we came up with the idea, me and Nico and Chris were sitting on the balcony of his apartment. And actually, an update on Chris, he moved to Boston quite a while ago, but he is now, he's not the bassist of, sorry about that. He's not the bassist of Kardashev anymore. Our current bassist is Alex of Holy Fawn, which is crazy. That band is ridiculous. I'll link Holy Fawn in the description. Also, Chris's new band he just joined up with is called Angel Grinder. They're pretty cool. I'll link their Facebook here as well. Check him out. Give him some love. He's on to new things. Show him some support and some love like you always have. But I remember when we came up with the idea for Iota, we were sitting on the balcony smoking like cheap cigarillos and drinking cheap beer. And, we were just like talking about the idea of Iota being like the smallest unit of anything before nothing. And, what if we were to lyrically and thematically, bring the human experience down to just that, like the bare bones of the basic human experience, which, theoretically you can't really do, but why not try? So Iota 1 was all about self-realization and realizing strengths and flaws and just kind of understanding who you are as a human, an infinite landscape of chemical reactions, right? A walking, talking machine of chemistry. Iota 2, which is actually pretty much done. I have a couple vocal sections to rewrite. I reached out to Matt Turkington of Animus Complex just for some advice to add a little bit more emotion. My performance was good, but I didn't feel like I was storytelling very well. But here's a clip of Iota 2. Actually, it's going to be a couple clips because it's like a 12-minute long song. This song is more about kind of realizing your place, like in a line of people, right? From grandparents and, farther back through like your descendants, and like what kind of responsibility that places on you as like a living, breathing individual in the current time, if any. But here's a clip of Iota 2. Check it out. See what you think. Iota 2, I'm just gonna be honest, is weird. Compositionally, it's pretty weird. There's a section where it's like super ambient, but there are also blast beats under it. There's kind of like a thal section that comes out of nowhere. It's got kind of like the, that just like that kind of sound, and the bass is doing weird stuff underneath, and I love the heck out of it. It's a strange composition. I'm gonna be real. Nico and I, when we were writing Iota 2, we eventually came to the point where we were like, we got to stop strangleholding this composition, and we just gotta let it be and breathe as it's gonna be. And I remember we looked at each other and we were like, are people gonna like this? This composition is so strange. And we were like, we'll only know when we release it. So actually, really exciting. I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, but we have an artist working on the cover art. Since it's a single, we're not going to release a physical realistically. It'll just be digital. But and I'm probably going to say your name wrong. I'm sorry, bro. Much love. But we have an artist named Timon Kokot, and his line work is unreal. Actually, here's a little preview of what it looks like. Basically, it's like a nebula, and there's going to be the Iota symbol in the middle, and then a crowd of people around it. And basically, what that represents, in a nutshell, I try to keep things, for anybody who's read my lyrics, they're super vague and purposefully left to interpretation. But the idea is that the nebula and the people in the Iota is kind of like your ancestors, the people, and whether or not you're into the idea of ancestry or things like that, but just people who have don't think of it as ancestors. Think of it as people who have influenced your life. Living or dead, people who have had an influence on your character. And, they can be mentors. They can even be people who have caused you some problems, people you really don't like and you actively try to be different from. They have an effect on you too. So that's kind of what that crowd represents. He's doing a great job. The artwork's not finished, but he's giving me constant updates. And if you're looking for artwork, let me tell you, this guy is super professional. It has been absolutely refreshing to work with somebody who stays in contact, is clear about their rates, clear about what they'll do, and so he's really great. I highly suggest working with Timon if you're looking for some artwork for your metal project or any project really. Second is our EP. Oh boy, I am so excited. To finally get this out. It's basically done. Now this is a short thing. It's really only 4 tracks. This is different. This is a different project. So, if you follow the Kardashev mythos, which is very vague, and if you haven't followed it, I don't blame you. Most of what Kardashev, there are 2 Kardashev stories going on. That's 4. This is 2. There's the Kardashev mythos, which is our demo, progression, and then Excipio, and then coming on to, and then the almanac. The almanac is part of the Kardashev mythos, and that's kind of like a fun sci-fi story, right? It's fiction, it's fun, it's meaningful, but it's a little bit more playful, right? And then there's also something outside of that is Peripety and Iota. And now our new EP coming out, which is called The Bearing of Shadows. Bearing, B-A-R-I-N-G, like showing people your shadows. And those are not connected to that sci-fi story, and they're a little bit different because the goal of those is more to kind of observe the human experience. Actually, Peripety is basically just a bunch of poetry I wrote when I was going to school up in Flagstaff, Arizona. Rewritten to fit the music, and that was a tough time in my life, but we'll save that for another day. So the Bearing of Shadows, without getting too crazy into it, one thing, the Bearing of Shadows is a few tracks, and each track is very real world. The goal of each track is to, how do I put this? Lately, these days, we all have so many ways to disagree and fight with each other. But one thing that many of us can agree upon is that pain is worth avoiding, right? Hardships in life are worth overcoming. And so they're very real world examples of difficult situations. The first track is about finding a loved one who has committed suicide and wondering if you could have done anything differently. The second track is about a young girl being abandoned by her mother in the woods and dying in the snow. The third track is about sitting with one of your parents as they die in hospice and kind of giving permission and yielding yourself to that situation and understanding that it needs to happen and that it's part of the natural cause of things. And then the last track is about a father whose wife, the mother of his children, died in a car accident, and now he's wondering how he is going to raise and show love to his children on his own because he's so damaged. How can somebody who's so scarred take care of somebody else? And the reason for these tracks is because no matter where you come from, no matter what your life looks like, these are things that you could experience. And my goal is to try to put a little. This is the Bearing of Shadows is the first time I've ever tried to do something lyrically. Everything else, I've just been really trying to tell a cool story or express myself emotionally. But the Bearing of Shadows, I really my goal is to put this out and kind of crush people emotionally while also giving them the realization that since everybody avoids pain and everybody tries to get away from pain, we can use that as a calibration point to try to come together. And it can be look, we disagree on a lot of these things, but we can all agree that pain is worth overcoming, right? And I don't really know where it goes beyond that, but I decided, here are a couple previews from the different tracks, and the artwork is actually it's super cool guy. They're not finished, but I decided to give you little previews. On Instagram, his name is Existential Yogurt. And we just fell in love with his artwork. And so these are just some pictures, some images of his artwork, along with the songs, and they're going to go in the order that I described. But these are some of the more, apex moments of those songs, and kind of where they're going. Now, everything is pre-production, right? Nothing's really been mixed. Nothing's really been mastered. So check it out. And, that's that's what Kardashev has been up to lately. We've been really busy, with Chris moving to Boston, with the vocal coaching and viremia and changing around members. We've had a lot of things that we need to kind of square away and figure out how they're going to work. But, it seems like in spite of that, we've found a lot of ways to be productive. And I'm really excited. I'm very excited to share a bunch of new music with all of you, to hear your feedback. And to put some more beautiful stuff out in the world, and then for you to share the beautiful work that you're doing with us. So if you watched this full long-winded video, 10 points to you. Oh, I'm knocking stuff over here. 10 points to you. I appreciate you sticking with me and getting the full, fleshed out, valuable information. But beyond that, I hope you have a wonderful day. Many thanks. Much love. I'm out.